I've been a Christian for a long time. When I was born, my parents baptized me, sprinkled me as a Catholic, and then I think around 1994 got rebaptized as a disciple of Jesus Christ. It's been all ups and downs since then. I feel that I've probably over the years read the Bible front to back just by all the scriptures I read, but that's not 100% for sure. So a few years ago, I kind of got it into my mind, like, you know what, I think it's time to read the Bible fully through. So I looked for some resources and I found a podcast called The Bible Recap. And I liked it because it went through chronologically and it only took about 15 to 20 minutes a day to kind of go through it. And one thing I really loved about that resource is that the host, Tara Lee Cobble, she had an episode where she talked about why she started this podcast and how she got to this place. And I'm going to link in the description a couple episodes that I think would be super, super awesome for you to listen to if you are just beginning to start a journey of reading the Bible all the way through. And even if you've read it a million times, I think it's still a great resource. In one of those episodes, she said that she had been in ministry for years, singing, writing, and speaking. And one time she was visiting a church. The pastor said, "Have you read the Bible all the way through?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm sure I've pieced it together over the years," which really spoke to me because I pretty much would say the same thing. And then he's like, "I would really, really encourage you to read the Bible all the way through, word for word. Don't skip any of the boring parts. Don't skip the genealogies, the footnotes. Read the Bible all the way through and say very little on stage until you do," which can seem harsh for somebody that's been in ministry for a long time, but she took it as like a challenge, like, oh, okay, well, all right, I haven't read it all the way through, so maybe I should. Her story encouraged me to do the same thing, so I started on her 1-year Bible reading plan, which is a year, and you just basically read the Bible for 20 minutes a day, and then she recaps it on the podcast. So I started doing that for a while, and through that journey, I started to realize I really want to go even deeper into the Bible. I want to go as far back as possible. Like, how did this even begin? How it all started and what all these words actually mean in Hebrew and how it translates the right way. Just the whole thing. I really got enthralled in just what I was reading and I wanted to know the most that I possibly could. So I would type in whatever the scripture was or the passage, and then I'd type the word commentary after it in Google so that I would get different commentaries. And one time I was looking something up, but I found a resource called the Torah class. So I read whatever I was looking up and I was like, wow, this is super detailed. And the Torah, if you don't know, is the first 5 books of the Bible for the Hebrews. So I realized that there was a whole study from Genesis on, very deep detail. And so I was like, I think I'm just gonna start using this as my main resource. Every morning I go to the Torah class, I go to the Old Testament studies, and then I just select what book I'm in, and then I just read through it. I'll go through word for word in my Bible. So I have my Bible here, and every time I get ready to read a new chapter, I will take my Bible markers, which are these highlighters, which I absolutely love. I'll link these in the description. I've shown these to other people, and so many people have gotten these based on my recommendation, and everybody loves them. I'll go through and I'll just highlight different things that popped out to me, and lots of things pop out at me, so my Bible is very marked up, but it's fine. I'll write down in my journal things that I'm learning, and I probably by now have about 4 of these filled out. And if I have further questions, then I'll Google about those questions, and it just becomes like a very long and detailed Bible study. So every morning I study my Bible for about 45 minutes to an hour, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, depending on what I have for the day. But almost always it's probably at least 40 minutes. If the Bible is the standard for my life, I want to know what it's all about and why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. Now, there's days where I know I have a very busy day, or I'm with a friend or whatever, and I have a very short time in the morning. When I have those days, I'll just go to the YouVersion Bible app. On that app, they have a daily devotional. And not only do they have daily devotionals, but they have plans that you can pick from. So if you can choose any topic, hope, joy, money, stress, or just millions of topics that probably not millions, but you get what I'm saying, that you could start a plan 1 day, 3 days, 7 days, 21 days, summer, annual. You can just go through them and they're just devotionals. That's what I do on certain days if I'm just a little bit busy and I know I'm not going to have 30 or 40 minutes to study in the morning. On those, that's just to like keep the word going in my mind and just to be able to meditate on it during the day. But for the most part, I prefer really studying the Bible. On top of that, I listen to a lot of apologetics content. If you don't know what apologetics is and you're a Christian, mark this day as the first day that you will start to learn about it. When I first heard the word apologetics, I was like, that sounds like something from Scientology, like Dianetics by L. Ron Hubbard. And I was like, I don't want anything to do with that. But it has nothing to do with that. And in fact, apologetics is the defense for Christianity using logic and evidence. So I really dig in because I really want to understand more deeply why the Bible is what it is. Some of the resources, the main ones that I kind of gravitate towards, the podcast called I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist by Frank Turek. The YouTube channels that I tend to follow are Melissa Doherty and Nick Jones. Another great website is crossexamined.org. That's the same Frank Turek. There's a bunch of other ones, but I really like listening to those types of content because it really helps me to understand more fully when I have questions. For the longest time, I would just read daily devotionals. I would even buy books that's like 1 devotion a day, but I felt that it was very like no substance. It was very weak, and they were lots of great stories and little tidbits and little scriptures plucked out of the Bible that felt good. But to really know God and know the Bible, I got tired of that. I felt like I didn't have enough substance. As a Christian wanting to grow, I had to do something more than just daily devotionals. So that's why I moved on to really studying the Bible in detail. And I wanted to be able to answer questions for those that are seeking for God. When some friends would ask, like, why do you believe in that? Or how come God does that? And I didn't have the answers. I wanted to learn not only for myself, but for other people. When they had questions, I wanted to be able to give an answer. And because I've put in a lot of work studying, I in no way have learned it all, but I feel I'm a little bit more well-equipped, more prepared to share that with other people. So my morning routine is typically wake up, stretch, make my coffee, and then sit down with my journal and my Bible and really dig in using the Torah class website. And if there's any other questions as I'm reading through it, I'll just Google those questions, and there may be other websites that pop up that has more answers, and I just journal out what I learned from it, taking notes basically, so that I can go back later and just read through it. What it came down to is I really wanted to go back as far as possible from the beginning of humanity, so Genesis, and I wanted to understand from God's perspective why all this stuff happened, why we're here. It's really helped me to get a better grasp on the Bible and my relationship with God. And it has been very challenging, I will say. Very challenging. Some of the things that I read in the Bible, I have wrestled with. I've had to take weeks off and just do little tiny Bible devotionals just to like reset my spirit and just kind of settle with the information. But I always go back to it and just really figure out what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling. And a lot of it comes down to God's sovereignty. I don't have the answers, but God does. Going through the Bible word by word, verse by verse, has really helped me to grow as a Christian and grow my relationship closer to God and have a better understanding and more wisdom around the Bible. And if you'd like more content around this channel is not a Bible channel, so I won't be making all my videos around the Bible. But if you'd like more content around this type of thing, then leave it in the comments. And until next time, bye for now. When I was born, I told these to mark this as to, that they can't give you, and in fact, not Scientology. Grow as a Christian. It's, what am I saying? Hey, have you read the Bible all the way through? Whoa.
to make time.